Good morning. I'm just going to let you guys come in while I'm trying to enter our number and pin it. How's everyone doing? Today is a frequently asked questions day, so feel free to start typing in your questions while I'm typing this. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to join, and I am pinning our phone number. Um, hello, good morning. Okay, I think I got everything in. Let me pin this on Instagram. Okay, so I've pinned it on Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Um, Let me introduce myself. My name is Aisha Chidoe. I'm an immigration lawyer, and I represent clients all over the US and internationally with their family immigration matter. Your location doesn't matter. We do have an office in Atlanta and Orlando, but we take clients in every state. So feel free to call us. I pinned my number, which is 407-995-6567 on Instagram. And it's also scrolling through the ticker on YouTube and Facebook. So feel free to call to schedule a consultation if you want. Um, if this is your first time tuning in, definitely comment so I can give you a shout out. Good morning, Shishiro on Instagram. Good morning, Edna. Well, she says, welcome back. Thank you. Sub Zero says, I like your hairstyle. Thank you. Lloyd, good morning. Let's see who else. Good morning. I- Ipad Dagoon, good morning. Good morning, Brandon. So today I want to talk about frequently asked questions. If you guys have any questions, definitely put it in the comments so I can answer them. I've been getting a lot of questions about naturalization, so I just want to talk about that real quick while you guys are typing your questions. So, what is naturalization? Naturalization essentially is when you finally become a US citizen. So, you go from being a green card holder to being a US citizen, and you're accorded and afforded all the rights that every other US citizen has. So, how does this happen and how do you get it? So there are two options to naturalize. One, through marriage after 3 years, which I'll get into, and by yourself after 5 years. So the difference is this. When you're married to a US citizen and you have had your green card for 3 years and you have been married for 3 years, you can apply for naturalization. Okay, so both occurrences have to happen to be eligible for naturalization. There are some exceptions which relate to if you're an abuse victim, where you can naturalize earlier, also at the same time, which I'll get into in a second. But otherwise, most other people are eligible for naturalization after 5 years. Even though I say 5 years, really it's 4 years and 9 months. What that means is you can put in your application 90 days before your 5 year anniversary of having your green card. So one of the questions I get related to naturalization is, if my green card expires and I'm eligible for naturalization, can I apply for naturalization? So technically, yes, you can. However, every immigration office is different depending on how long ago your green card had expired. If you applied for naturalization 6 months before your green card had expired, then if your green card expires and you're still pending, you have the option to get an info pass where they give you an added stamp, so like a temporary green card on your passport, just to allow you to travel if you wanted to travel. Otherwise, if your green card expired and you just never did anything, and a year later you're trying to apply for naturalization, You can apply for naturalization, but you're not. We would not recommend that you travel outside the country unless you get that stamp. And the only way you'll be able to get that stamp is by filing an I-90. An I-90 is to renew your green card. Green card renewals are literally taking the same time as naturalization, a year or more. So, which is why if you're eligible for naturalization, it makes sense to naturalize. Um, okay. Someone says, after the 2-year green card expires, do you get 18 months or 10-year green card? This is a very good question. After the 2-year green card expires or is about to expire, you must file for removal of condition on your green card. If you don't file for removal of condition and you leave it, you're putting yourself up to be deported, because you could get a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge for deportation. So you want to make sure that you're filing for removal of condition. So how it works is, as long as you file for removal of condition, you're going to get a 20-month extension from the date of expiration of your conditional green card. So it used to be 18 months, but right now they're giving 24 months because of the backlog in every area of immigration, just to allow them to process your case. However, that 20 months is not, it's your green card in a paper form, but it's not really what you're looking for. Once they approve your removal of condition, you automatically would then get the 10-year green card. So, they kind of work in tandem, if that makes sense. Okay. My spouse is a U.S. citizen, but I'm out of student status. Can I file an I-130 without having any issues? Just don't want no issues while filing. What can I do? iPad Goon, if your spouse is a U.S. citizen and you're out of status, you should be filing more than an I-130. Like, if you came here as a student, so I'm assuming you're here like either as an F1 student or M class or something like that, you can file a full adjustment of status, meaning you can file for adjustment of status to get your green card at the same time with the I-130. Normally, of course, they don't want you to overstay your time or be out of status, but they make exceptions when you're married to a U.S. citizen. If you were married to a green card holder, it would be a problem. But because you're married to a U.S. citizen, you can do that. Okay. Tyler says, how long after VAWA loan approval can one start the green card process? Immediately. You don't have to wait. Okay. After filing a petition for an I-130 and getting your receipt notice, how long will it take to get a second notice from USCIS? We've been waiting 7 months now. Is this normal? When you say second notice, what are you expecting? Do you mean like your approval? When you file an I-130, you're only getting one receipt notice. When you file a petition, you're only getting one receipt notice. And then depending on what's going on with your case, you might get a request for additional evidence, you might get a notice of intent to deny, or you might get an approval. That's how the I-130 works. But 7 months is not a long time at all for an I-130 case to be pending. Right now, depending on your service center, it can vary all the way from 10 months to 25 months. Depending on one, are you a green card holder petitioning for somebody, or are you a U.S. citizen petitioning for someone? I'll use California Service Center, for example, Laguna Beach. Like, if you filed in California, for instance, not if you filed in California, what I mean is whenever you submit your petition, USCIS assigns you a service center. So if, let's say, you're assigned to California, service center. For instance, if it's a U.S. citizen that's petitioning for you, the window right now is 10.5 months. That's when the average person, so average, they basically say 80% of people, will get a decision by then. If you're a green card holder in the same field office or the same service center, you're looking at 25 months. So 7 months is not a long time at all. Okay. How long does it take to get a 10-year green card after the 24 months? You get a 10-year green card based on your removal of condition, not based on the 24 months. The 24 months is just a letter that they give you to extend your green card when you apply for removal of conditions because you have a conditional green card. The idea behind it really is that they don't want you to be out of status. And because you're doing the right thing, applying for removal of condition, we're going to give you this temporary green card to continue. So until we make a decision on your case, just so that you're not out of work or out of status, like to travel, and stuff like that. Again, timelines vary. So what that means is you could be given a 24-month extension and they can make a decision on your case in 6 months. They could make a decision on your case in 10 months. They could make a decision on your case in 18 months. They can make a decision after 24 months. So nobody can tell you the exact date or the exact time that they're going to make a decision on your case, because it depends on the officer, that's processing your case and reviewing your case, what you submitted. Do they need more information? I will say that some people are lucky. We've had clients where they submitted a removal of conditions, and in 6 months they were scheduled for an interview. They did the interview, and that was it. We've also had clients who in 6 months they didn't even have an interview. They just approved them. But then most clients will be in the 18-month to 24-month window. Majority of people will be in there. So instead of counting from the 24 months, count from when you submitted. Okay. Good morning, Nikea. Good morning, Tanique. Good morning, Pinky. All right, let's see what else we have. Edna says, can you travel while you request for removal of conditions on your green card? The answer is it depends. If you requested for removal of conditions and you are not somebody that's subject to an NTA, that you don't have a removal proceeding, by all means travel with your extension that they've given you, like the paper extension they've given you. But you always want to check your alien number, make sure that you don't have any deportation hearing that you don't know about. A lot of people that fall into that category are people who submitted their removal of conditions late. Like the previous administration, for instance, literally, if you submit your stuff like a day after the deadline, you're getting a deportation hearing notice. So, it's one of those things that, you want to check. Okay. Sandy Roberts says, can I withdraw my N400 application after I already had the interview? That doesn't sound good. If you're wanting to withdraw it, it means something is not going well, I'm assuming. But yeah, you can withdraw it if you want to, depending on, obviously what happened. Bipolar Neon says, my U.S. citizen spouse refuses to work. What should I do? Well, I guess you can't force somebody to work, but you could definitely schedule a call so we can see if you're qualified to self-petition yourself, because I suspect there's some sort of financial abuse going on, and probably more, because if your U.S. citizen husband does not want to work, what is the pressure or the burden being put on you to carry the household and everything else that comes with that? So, we could definitely schedule to evaluate what's going on with you. Kel says, Potomac is a service center, U.S. citizen filing for husband. Yeah, I'm smart, but I can't remember everything. So you just have to go online to check yourself. I don't know offhand what their timeline is. There's, many service centers. I only know California because it's fresh in my head from looking at it yesterday for something else. Vanny says, what if I want to move to another state from where I filed for my green card? Will that affect me? Well, if you move, you want to notify USCIS immediately, because interviews are based on jurisdiction. Because if you move to Georgia and you're in like Alaska or something like that, Alaska no longer has a jurisdiction to do your interview. So you want to update them so that you can get scheduled at the right place. If I have citations that were waived and had overstayed my visa for like 3 years, can I still travel with my AP while waiting for my pending? Without knowing your alien number, I personally cannot give you any advice. You can schedule a consult and then we can look at your immigration history to make sure. This is for Daya. If I have a 9-year-old daughter living abroad and my U.S. citizen husband is filing for my green card, Does my baby get her green card at the same time? I'm the US, she's in my country. No, she's not going to get her green card at the same time. There are two different processes. Your husband is going to file your own I-130, which is also separate from the I-130 that he's going to file for your daughter. You're going to go through a process called adjustment of status, and your daughter is going to go through a process that's called consular processing. So the process is not the same. He can submit the two I-130s at the same time, but this is the direction you're both going, like this. One person is going to be interviewed here in the US, one person is going through the National Visa Center and consular processing in your home country. If you guys were in the US, if your daughter was in the US at the same time as you, your husband could do two applications for both of you simultaneously, at the same time. This is different if your spouse is a green card holder. If your spouse is a green card holder, they would usually submit one I-130, and then when the I-130 is approved, NVC, and one person does the adjustment of status. Okay, so oh my goodness, I don't know if you guys can hear it. My daughter is blowing me up. This is why kids need to go back to school, um, because one of my daughters is homesick and she is texting me, and it's so distracting. If my husband is on this live, please attend to your child so I can finish this live. Okay, so Shay says, let me just hit the decline button. All right, guys, just hold on one second. Let's see. I don't know if this is an emergency. I might have to jump off. Let's see what is going on. Okay, so, Shay Talk says, "Thank you, Aisha, for my parole documents. You're welcome. It came in as a paper approval. Is this okay to travel with? And also, how long before expiration can I request another travel document?" If you are a client, which I'm assuming you are, since you're thanking us, send an email through your portal so I know who you are, and I can tell you whether you can travel or not. Okay? Prince Hollywood says, I was in Nigeria for almost 1 year. Can I file for my citizenship? Without knowing your entire travel history, most likely you've basically restarted calculation, and you most likely will not be eligible. But again, I don't know your travel history, how long you've been out of the country, how long you've had your green card, and all of that stuff. I would need more to be able to say. I applied for an EAD, and they sent me a letter saying my application is missing an ID. The only ID I still have is a learner's permit. I don't know what that means. I've never ever seen anything like that, so I don't know what an ID or what they're referring to means. But if you use a lawyer, you should ask your lawyer what they're referring to. If not, you can schedule a consult with us and email me the actual letter so I can see what exactly is going on. So Larry says, please check on your daughter. My husband has checked on her. She's actually fine. She just wanted me to approve her request to get on Disney Plus. I'm sure for those of you who have kids, my kids have to get permission to go on any app during non-screen time. She's supposed to be reading her book. And I think, she kept pressing it to distract me, but she's fine. So everybody says, Ms. Aisha, do you know like some of the random questions for an I-360 and 485 interview? So with an I-360, you don't get an interview. Usually they will approve your I-360. And once your I-360 is approved, then they will schedule for a 485. If you're one of my clients, usually we'll go through an interview prep where I go through as many questions, as I have. Whenever I have new questions for a client, I add it to my list just to make sure that we cover all bases for people. But generally, it's really important to know your know if it's based on VAWA, the key things with VAWA interviews, they're not going to be as tough as say a marriage interview because they've already approved you based on abuse and they have a good faith marriage. So you're looking at things like your address history. You need to know your last 5 years of your address history. You need to know your marital status. Are you divorced? If you're divorced, you want to make sure you're bringing your divorce decree. You need to know the dates, which I find unbelievable that a lot of people, and maybe it's trauma, I don't know, but I'm seeing recently that a lot of people don't remember their divorce dates, or marriage dates. On a normal basis, you can forget about that. But for immigration, you really should know your dates because it makes you, it raises a red flag. If you don't remember the date of your wedding or the date you divorced the person that was abusing you or whatever. Again, some people, it could be trauma, but force yourself to memorize it for your interview because those things, can cause a potential issue. When you last lived with the person, and stuff like that. Those are the kinds of questions that you might see. Um, Okay, so I'm going to take one more question, and then I got to jump off. Um, Let me get a good one. Okay, so Van says, can you represent a client in Boston? Absolutely. We have clients all over the United States. Your location is not a problem. So give us a call, 407-995-6567. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you guys on Friday at 1:30. I will be live this Friday at 1:30. I was in North Carolina last week, so I couldn't join live, but I will be there this week. All right, guys. I hope you have a good day. Bye.